Welcome back, BEPRO Network Bulls. Time we talk about a little known feature that has flown under the radar of many different BEPRO holders that has the potential to single-handedly be the most valuable utility aspect of BEPRO token to date. And this is the white label forkability of our development DAO. I've spoke briefly about this in the past in some of my videos, but today we're going to cover it in full. So, as a quick rundown before we get into the meat of this video, organizations or communities are going to be able to white label fork our development DAO, okay? You know our development app we use to create fantastic products? Well, they will be able to have their own non-branded version of our development DAO for their own purposes, okay? And to do this, they are going to need to lock 1 million BEPRO tokens into a smart contract. But I hear you ask, Constar, what even is a white label? Well, let me tell you. It is essentially tech that can be used by other organizations for a fee, okay? So without having to go through the painstaking process of creating a fully fledged working application, organizations can pay a fee and have the work done for them and then have their own branded version of the technology, okay? That's why it's the perfect one-size-fits-all format, because you provide them the base layer of foundationally sound code or technology, and then they can build upon it to suit their needs. Now, there are many, many different benefits of using white label technology for both the consumer and the provider of the technology. So, as we all know, good technology is very, very expensive to make, okay? And you also need to have all the right talent in order to do it. And for some organizations, they just don't have that at their disposal. White label framework is a far faster route to market for many new startup organizations or already established organizations looking to branch into other potential markets. It's very easily accessible. So all it is a fee. They don't have to worry about talking to anyone. They don't have to set up meetings with developers. They don't need to brainstorm ideas on how they can get it done. Just upfront a cost and boom, they have working tech. It also minimizes the risk on the consumer behalf, because they don't need to spend an absurd amount of money in order to just get the framework for the company in order to start selling their product or service. And potentially one of the more important aspects of white labeling technology is the fact that you can brand it as your own. You can have the framework of your company provided to you without having to have the branding of another entity slapped all over it. You can design it however you like. Now, a prime example of white label technology is Shopify. I'm sure you've heard of this company, okay? But if you haven't, they're essentially an e-commerce platform that provides the framework for businesses to launch an online store without having to build that online store. So the code is already done. It's already got all the payment systems built into it and listing features. Essentially, everything you'd need on the back end side of an online store, they provide for you for a fee. And you can customize it to look however you like, to maintain brand coherence within your branding. And now Shopify is an absolutely enormous company, okay? They have more than 2.1 million active users daily, and currently, at the date of making this video, they currently have a market capitalization of 52.6 billion. That is immense. That is a very, very large company. We spoke about how Shopify provides framework for e-commerce platforms, but BEPRO allows for the building of Web3 applications. So you can see how the scope for the potential market that we could capture is absolutely immense. And just as a little thought experiment for us, okay? And now I know standard Web2 companies and more traditional stock market companies, the economy for them is way more established and trusted than current cryptocurrencies. And they have way, way higher market capitalizations for the most part. But we all know we're very early to cryptocurrency. So the market capitalizations can grow to a lot higher. So this may seem absurd to start with, but just as a comparison, okay? If BEPRO managed to reach the market capitalization of that of Shopify, the price for the token would be $7.76. Oh my lord. That's a lot of money. It's a 2,436x from current price. Okay? What? I'm not saying BEPRO is going to go to these values, but I'm also not saying it can't. Okay? This is a long way away, I understand. But it's not to say certain parameters can't play out in a similar fashion for Web3 applications. We really don't know how far this can go, but I believe it can go very, very far and much further than we even realize. So how does this play into BEPRO Network, the white labeling? This could result in BEPRO Network being the framework of almost every modern enterprise within the Web3 ecosystem. So think of it like this. BEPRO Network's development app is the perfect way to build and update software on the blockchain. The team over the years has painstakingly updated, back-tested, developed this software for this very reason, okay? Any Web2 company looking to branch into Web3 or any emerging Web3 applications would benefit immensely from a development framework for their company. So all they need to do is provide a fee. 1 million BEPRO tokens. I believe this number can be changed via governance using the BEPRO token and can be voted on our development DAO in the future. So if the price rises sharply, which I think it will, we can bring this number down. But just as most computers use Windows as a framework to run the computer, modern enterprises will use BEPRO Network as the framework behind their enterprises in terms of software. So let's talk about the implications of this white label. So as it stands, we talk about how it's going to cost 1 million BEPRO tokens in order to get your own white labeled version of our development DAO. I spoke about this briefly before. But if 1,000 companies use this feature, which to me seems obtainable, that's 10% of the supply locked up in smart contracts. And I'm going to play a little clip from one of my previous videos. Say 1,000 companies use this feature. They'd all lock up 1 million BEPRO. That's 10% of the supply that's no longer on exchanges. 10%. Okay? Obviously, a more moderate number. Say 100 companies use it. 100 companies white label our development DAO. Well, that's 1% of the supply gone. It was there, but it's locked. It's locked into a smart contract, not being sold. I don't think there's anyone that would disagree with me when I say losing 1%, 2%, 5% of your supply of tokens, of the supply of anything. If the supply of gold dropped by 10%, would the price go down or would it go up? Simple supply and demand. And it's beautiful because the more companies that see white labeling our product as a benefit, the higher the demand goes, whilst the supply goes down. Simple supply and demand. It works perfectly in our favour. Okay? Good, isn't it? So I'd like to give my own personal thoughts and opinion on this feature, because I truly believe that this feature alone could be the driving force behind us reaching mass adoption within the Web3 space and blockchain as a whole. I feel like this alone would be enough to make us an absolutely incredible opportunity and project. There are so many use cases for this feature. Any segment of the market within Web3, custom networks, these white labeled custom networks of the developer framework is absolutely perfect for all the hackathons that Taikai does. Think about this, okay? The hackathon could be held on a white labeled version of the BEPRO Network developer framework. And then once the hackathon's been complete, the custom network can be shut down because all the bounties have been distributed to everyone. So the more hackathons that Taikai are running for other people, the more we can see this feature being implemented. I think it's really important that we push for this to be a driving selling point of BEPRO token and BEPRO Network as a whole. It's very low input from us on the BEPRO Network side because third-party organizations don't even need to interact with us in order to do it. They can just lock the tokens. It's easy money. It really is. And for the hackathons, white labeling the framework is perfect because you can customize the way the framework looks to match the hackathon branding. You won't even know it's BEPRO, but it is. This is the important thing everyone needs to realize about BEPRO and Bepro Network, okay? We will be taking in the benefits of people using BEPRO Network without the general consumers even knowing. This truly is the path to success for the BEPRO token. Now, I know many of you who are watching me will be investors of the BEPRO token, and I believe this is the key to seeing BEPRO's price rise dramatically. This token lockup for companies to use our service is the key, okay? It's hard to imagine the true potential of something like this in such early stages. Like I've spoke about briefly before, how some tech companies benefit immensely from an exponential business plan. And this white labeling framework truly is exponential in terms of growth. And I can't stress how important it is that third-party companies don't even need to interact with anyone from the team in order to get this to work. Next to no effort. The team has put all the effort in up front to do this. It's taken longer to get to this stage, but we are at the stage of launch. It is coming, okay? Sustainable exponential growth is the key. We are truly at the start of a potentially enormous ecosystem of projects and developers. Just wait until some of these big names that Taikai are already in business with introduce them to BEPRO Network and their technology stack. Once this ship sails, there's no going back, okay? But this feature will be premiering shortly for BEPRO Network. So if you know any Web3 companies or any Web3 communities that would like to test or use this feature, contact me or one of the members in the community or one of the team members on the Discord platform and get the ball rolling, okay? If you'd like to become a part of the BEPRO Network community, please join both the Discord and the Telegram groups that I've left in the description of the video. There's always very beneficial information and conversations going on in these channels. Discord more for the technical side of things, Telegram for unofficial communities and news updates. I've been the Cornstar, and I'll see you in the next one, BEPRO Bulls.